The Grizzco Slosher is an extremely strong and versatile weapon. The key is to exploit its unique armour-piercing capability. This lets the G-Slosher ignore enemy attack cycles altogether, allowing you to attack enemies in the most direct way possible, and at any time. The G-Slosher's high damage sloshes and piercing means 2 to 3 sloshes are enough to kill virtually everything. Long shot flight time also means the G-Slosher can easily inflate damage, just slosh into the crowd. However, that does not mean you should spam sloshes thoughtlessly. You only get 4 shots per ink tank. Sloshing when empty not only leaves you vulnerable, it also resets ink recovery cooldown. It is good practice to keep 1 slosh in reserve. Don't be afraid to move around with the G-Slosher. Contrary to popular belief, it is not a heavyweight weapon, it is a middleweight weapon. The spool up time and slow speed of the projectile make it feel like a heavyweight weapon. Paths can be easily painted by sloshing forwards. The projectile paints like a curling ball. Stingers can be one-shot by aiming a slosh at their head. Steelheads die in 1 shot by sloshing the bomb, and flyfish by sloshing the cockpit. Scrappers, steel eels, and lesser groups die in 2 sloshes. Fog and rush goldies die in 2 sloshes as well. Grillers can be stunned in 2 sloshes and from any angle. Drizzlers die in 3 sloshes. Steelheads can also be killed by 3 body shots. Remember to plan your sloshes. You cannot cancel them once started. The Grizzco Charger is also a very strong and versatile weapon. The key is to abuse its high damage output and range. The G-Charger has virtually no charge time. This allows the G-Charger to deal a lot of damage quickly. It can even shoot Moors to death. The G-Charger also does piercing damage, and can easily inflate damage against long groups of targets. The G-Charger also has the same range as the Eevee. This is useful for tackling far targets, especially Drizzler torpedoes. This does not mean you should spam shots. You only have 7 shots per ink tank, and running out of ink is extremely dangerous. Shoot forwards to paint paths. Steelheads and lesser groups die in 2 shots. Scrappers and steel eels die in 3 shots. Rush and fog goldies also die in 3 shots. Scrappers and grillers can be stunned in 3 shots. Drizzlers can be killed in 5 shots. Moors can be killed in 6 shots. Stingers can be killed in 7 shots. But this consumes virtually all your ink. And the G-Charger loves cheesing the mothership. The Grizzco Blaster is one of the easier weapons to use, and comes with impressive support potential. Like all blasters, the G-Blaster fires explosive projectiles. This allows the user to inflate damage by hitting multiple targets within the blast radius. However, you should still be getting direct hits on targets, as the damage output from the blast alone is pitifully low. Even with the G-Blaster's high fire rate. Nonetheless, the blast effect should be exploited, especially against groups of lessers. The G-Blaster also has good mobility and decent ink efficiency, giving 6.3 seconds of shooting time per tank. Like all blasters, it takes some time to start firing once the trigger is pulled. However, the G-Blaster has virtually no ink recovery cooldown. The G-Blaster is also an excellent stinger slayer. You must also be mindful of where you aim your shots. The G-Blaster's high fire rate and very large blast radius makes it easy to accidentally hit things you do not want to hit. The Grizzco Umbrella is arguably the easiest Grizzco weapon to use, effectively playing like a shooter. Like all Umbrellas, the G-Umbrella fires multiple pellets in a spread per shot, and can use this spread to inflate damage on wide groups of targets. This should be done all the time, due to the G-Umbrella's quirk. A G-Umbrella shot has 10 pellets, each dealing 15 damage, giving each shot 150 damage in theory. However, instead of doing 150 damage against single targets, it is capped at 60 damage against single targets, reducing its effective DPS. As if to compensate, the G-Umbrella has excellent mobility when firing, amongst the best in Salmon Run. The G-Umbrella also has excellent turfing capability, and should paint floors and walls when it can. The G-Umbrella is also the most ink-efficient Grizzco weapon, allowing for 10 seconds of firing per tank. You should still mind your ink levels regardless, as the G-Umbrella has a noticeable ink recovery cooldown of 0.9 seconds. There isn't any weapon-specific tech for the G-Blaster and G-Umbrella. Anything you can do with these weapons comes down to your fundamental knowledge of mobility, mechanics, and game sense. Thank you so much for watching our video. This is the very first video project we've undertaken, and we do hope you enjoyed it. Making this has been quite the experience, and we hope to do more in the future. For more information, check out the more in-depth written guide, linked in the description below. Also, do have a look at our ongoing project, the Salmon Run Rotation Guide, also linked in the description below. Until next time, see ya!